It is probably an inevitability for future humans. I will be their inevitability, so it is certainly possible that one day I will become mute for the sake of humanity. I am not a Nietzsche expert. However, I have read all his texts translated into my native language, including Zarathustra, 6 times. He is one of the few philosophers who changed the way I perceive and look at life. Nevertheless, what I'm going to tell you in this video is not a Nietzsche expert, but a Nietzsche lover sharing what he understands. The philosopher who died at the age of 55 on August 25, 1900 went to Turin at the age of 44. Turin's writing style begins to change, and these writings herald a kind of enlightenment or a state of madness. Turin is a city that appeals to both the feet and the eyes. What beautiful sidewalks, he notes. Walking is Nietzsche's way of thinking. He despises those who write by reading and being inspired by books at a desk. He says that the instantines, not the brain, write books written at a desk. The beginning of his time in Turin is when his vomiting and headaches easy. The eye pains have subsided somewhat. Since 1880, he has written to his friends in his letters that he has not been able to walk as he used to for the last 4 years. However, 1886, the migraine came back with a vengeance. After his walks, headaches that shake his whole body for days come. Since he had no money, he lived in cold rooms facing north. He began to sign his writings as the crucified. He also signed as the god Dionysus. Once you discover me, you will find me easily and everywhere. The next difficulty will be to lose me, he writes to a friend. The delusions of becoming God have begun. He seems to be in the final stage of self-return realization. The self-return, German ewig Wiederkunft, involves the thesis that time has a cyclical form and that events have repeated and will repeat in this cyclicity forever. In his earlier texts, he wrote that God insults thinking minds. If there is a God, how can I bear not to be God? He said. I can only believe in a God who can dance, he had said, expressing that there cannot be an arrogant God, because he knew that those who cannot dance are to be feared. Not being able to dance was an exaggeration of self-esteem. It was the fear of absurdity, the fear of dancing. Where was Nietzsche when he said, God is dead, and when he went to the funerals of people he didn't know and shouted, "It is me, who is dead? It is us, who are dead." He now felt the concept of self-return, ewig Wiederkunft, which he had been using in his writings for a long time, in his actions and his own body.
Together we will live forever.
Rumi speaks of it in the East. Hallaj Mansur experienced it in the East, and it was known to many Eastern philosophers from India to Islam. His friends were worried about his condition, and when they reached Nietzsche, they saw that he was out of control. He rescued a horse that its master was beating. He throws his arms around its neck and weeps for a long time. He says incomprehensible things. He talks to God and preaches in empty rooms and sometimes in public. At the last point, his friend Overbeck enters the room and finds him looking at the proofs of his previous book, which has hundreds of papers on the floor. Nietzsche looks up after a while and jumps up when he sees his friend. He hugs him around the neck and begins to cry. His weeping shrivels up again as he sits down. He is now inaccessible. His friend tries to talk him but cannot reach him. As they try to take him back to Basel, he sings loudly at the train station. He talks to God. After an arduous journey, he is taken to the clinic in Basel. Then he is transferred to Jena. His mother was informed and she took him home. Now the connection is completely cut off. His mother takes care of Nietzsche and cares for him as long as she can. For 7 years, she feeds and bathes him like a baby. In his last stage, his words become feeble and meaningless. He is unable to think. He rarely plays the piano and tries to improvise. After age 44, the connection is completely severed. He suffers a stroke and becomes wheelchair-bound, but he still has a book in his hand. Sometimes he holds the books upside down and mumbles words. At the end of everything, death. There is no light left.